Divine number 4. The big blast. And Betrayal, and Expedition, and Legion. Sexy. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. No, 14 stacks. I say it's gonna be crit multi all-res. Attack speed, male violence. Huh. Stun resistance, ignore enemy block chance. Heals flask. Oh, they're all mine? Okay, for winning an entire tournament, we get 1 chance. Okay, that's worth nothing. Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today, the last update on my League Start series. It's the end of day 4, start of day 5, wherever you're living on the planet. I call it day 5 now. And yeah, I've done pretty much everything I wanted to do. So my League Start is now over. Now we're gonna go over into farming strats, into trying out different builds, and so on. My Atlas is clear 115 of 115. I have my 4 Void Stones, and I have 11 out of 12 favorite map slots. The last one would be the Feared, but I don't think that I'm capable of doing the Feared right now, so I'm just gonna chill on that. But that is pretty much it. I also did farm up all the Divine Vessel upgrades, so the way you can do this is just type in here Pantheon, and you see all the 20 maps, which basically upgrade or give you the bonus things from your Pantheons. You don't need all of them. I'm just a OCD guy, a completionist, so I'm always like putting all the 20 maps into the grind and just farm it like that. Currently using Soul of the Brine King and Soul of Avarath. So what else have I done on this build? Yeah, pretty much a lot and nothing at the same time. Well, let's say I farmed a lot today, and once I was done with completing all the steps over here, I decided to do my first Atlas strategy, which is, you can screenshot that right now if you want to. It's still in the testing. It is a mix between Legion, Expedition, Shrines, as well as the Eater of Worlds for a possible Divine Altar Shrine, something like that, okay? There will be a separate video talking about this strategy. It is, for me, Alk and Go, and we're gonna do one map here so you see how the current build or the current status of the build is like, and then we're gonna talk about the upgrades that I've done on this build, what has changed from the yesterday's version, okay? So, the way I play this, I do have here my Lightning Warp with a Brutality support, so it says skill, deal no chaos damage, deal no elemental damage, so my Lightning Warp currently doesn't have any damage. The way I would normally do this is just gonna rush to the boss and kill the boss so we don't spawn any of the boss modifiers. But it is a bit rough because my build is not ailment immune yet, so it can happen that I'm just gonna get like a 50% shock and I'm just dying right away, right? I think I currently have like somewhere about 2.5 million Ignite DPS, so bossing damage, it is there, at least stuff is dying, it's not like the worst, but it could be better in the upcoming days, more currency, more grind. So, now this is done, now I'm starting to actually clear the map, with Arc / Vaal Arc on this Ignite based character. And what I'm looking out for is obviously Legion and Expedition to blow these up, and I hope we're gonna have like at least one of the 2 or even 2 modifiers, because they are not guaranteed on this map. So you can see some Legion exploding basically. Happens quite often nowadays that I one-shot it, but not always. It's just depending on where it is located. You can just have like a very bad spot and it's not gonna happen. But as you see, dude, Vaal Arc Ignite, it is just so powerful and fun to play. Clicking all the altars. I'm never reading altars, but I know that the Divine Altar Shrine is the one for minion enhancing things. So, oh, there's another Sanctum. And basically, I know that if I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna hear all the swing sounds, but I don't really have to read the altars. But this is why I like my builds to be overall tanky, so I can allow myself to actually do that. Just go in and just click on all the altars, whatever. I don't really care about that. And this is basically the same way I'm treating Legions, and not Legions, the Expedition. Because I don't want to... I wouldn't say waste my time, but I don't really want to go in there and read every single note. So what I do is... I keep the Expedition for the last, and then I just pop it, try to one-shot it, basically, and if it rolls like Fire Immunity or 100% Ailment Immunity or something like that, I'm just gonna leave the map. It's an Alk and Go, it's not a heavy investment map, so, yeah, bad luck, I guess, right? So here we have one of the Legions, clicking on it. Beautiful, a Vaal Arc, a little bit of a lag, hope we're gonna one-shot it this time. This is a pop, this is a pop. This guy died. This was just a bit too far away, I guess. So sometimes it kind of sucks that monsters are like, yeah, surviving it. But as I said, can happen. We're still gonna easily do it within the time limit, I guess. It can happen like if the Legion is like popped like over here, that there is like some area, some room over here that it just doesn't one-shot. But it's not a big deal. The clear at least is like on point. It's like so satisfying to see this like massive chain reaction, all the loot pops and everything. It just, yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And it's even better, I think, for the Expedition encounter. Sadly, we didn't have one yet. I think we're just gonna run a second map, because I really want to like to show you the Expedition clear, unless it's like somewhere here in the dead space, but I think it is not. I guess one more Vaal Arc over here, and let's quickly pick up all the looties and throw in another map. Sadly, no big drops still. I think I had like 1 or 2 Divine Orb drops today, flat. No Brothers Gift card, no Mirror, sadly. Like a bunch of like random stuff. I think when I did the bosses, like all the Conqueror, Cyrus, Shaper, and so on, I got quite lucky, I would say. Not having like super big drops, but still like there was a few drops that usually on League Start never happen. For example, when I take a look at my currency stash tab, I have like a Hunter's Exalted Orb. I got from the Redeemer, I got an Exalted Orb. The Cyrus dropped me an Awakener Orb, and a Thread of Hope that I have here somewhere. I think like 60 chaos or something. So overall, I think the bosses, Maven dropped an Orb of Conflict, so that's something, you know, it's better than nothing. It just sums up overall, right? So that's why I would say I was like lucky in terms of the average drops that I had. Let's quickly throw in everything over here. I should actually put in some incubators, but whatever. Put the tomes away for maybe the next build or something. Let's run another one, because I would really like to show you this Expedition. If it doesn't happen, yeah, whatever happens, right? But would be cool if there would be some. So, Searing Exarch, I can go with my strategy, as I said, with some goodies over here with Legion Expedition. And Expedition, the way I make it is like super simple and straightforward. I do have the scratching up the ground as well as a noble quest. That means 2-gen currency and Danning, which I can convert into 2-gen currency. So every day, like at the end of the day, I'm just gonna rock in and get some flat currency out of 2-gen, which is pretty cool. So there is an Expedition, already saw it, so that is quite nice. Now we just need to hope that it's not the one that bricks it with like immune to fire or something. We're gonna see about that. So let me quickly go over and try to get to the boss. Sadly, no Divine Orb Shrine. Usually just running it at the side, because there's usually always like the boss area over here. 1 arc, we get inflammability. let the Ignite do its work, and there we go. We have a Maven Invitation and a bog map, because I have, from the 11 favorite maps, I have 10 times Cemetery and 1 time the bog map, and then I play with the favorite map slot drops thingy. So once I'm running out of Cemetery, I'm just running a couple bogs and then just sustain all the stuff that I need in terms of mapping. So absolutely no investment besides like the alchemy orb per map, basically. So let's load up the Vaal Arc, because the Legion monolith is right over there. Some more silver coins. Let's pick up the shrine, actually. So why I picked the shrine now, it's pretty simple. In the start, where characters are not that strong, the shrines can be very, very strong when it comes to that. It's getting like an immunity shrine or some resistance shrine or recovery shrine. It doesn't really matter. It's always nice to have shrines and they stack up. This basically means they last longer for me based on the nodes, as well as the every time I click on a shrine, I get 1 additional shrine. So every shrine gives me basically 2 buffs. And the one that I have right now, oh shit, I got stunned on my Vaal Arc. Let me quickly load it up again. Unfortunate. This is like something that can happen if, because I'm not stun immune. So what can happen, Vaal Arc has a cast time of 0.31 seconds. And, sorry. And if I'm in the middle of the pack, it can happen that once I press the Vaal Arc button that I get stunned in the animation. That means my Vaal Arc goes on cooldown and doesn't go off. And then I usually just get meleeed or something. Unlucky, happens, and obviously when you click all the shrines like I do, like a madman, then sometimes you just have like terrible modifiers. But it's still like somewhat early in the league. The character has a current investment of I think we're getting closer to the 10 divine mark. So there is still like so much more room to for improvement, right? And oh, this is another thing that can happen. Soul Eater in both Legion and Expedition. Since we're killing mobs so freaking fast, and a lot of those at the same time, it can happen that you have a Soul Eater monster in there that is just gonna really like destroy you. Sometimes even so bad that you actually bricks the map because the Soul Eater guy has like so many stacks and you cannot do anything about it, which kinda sucks. But as I say again, it is Alch and go. That means no big investment. We're gonna self-sustain the maps and we're gonna sustain the alchemies and everything, so it shouldn't be the biggest deal. So one more a Vaal Arc over there. Let's clear off that monster. We have our Vaal Arc ready, so now let's take a look at the Legion. The only thing that I actually do, I just walk around like a little bit and check for the yellow text, because this is like the immunity text. Immune to lightning damage works. We deal only lightning damage, but we're actually, like, our arc is lightning damage, but we are dealing fire damage, right? So immunity to lightning does work, it's just immunity to fire sucks, okay? So I don't see anything over here. As I said, usually I just run around here, yellow text, immune lightning, don't care, put it over here. I don't read any of the other text. So this could break it. Let's see if it's gonna work. I think they're getting damage. And load up my... No, they're ailment immune. I think they're ailment immune. Yep, I'm not killing anything. Yep. So the initial damage was from the Vaal Arc, so that obviously sucks. This is a divine shrine. So it's fine. So basically I'm just gonna leave the map. I think I'm gonna loot the Legion later on. So as I said, this can happen. I think there is a modifier which makes them immune to elemental ailments. So obviously as an Ignite build, that sucks. So there are modifiers that are just breaking it. Doesn't really matter too much. As I said, low investment mapping, just pop in the next map. That's why I said I do the expeditions at the end of the map. So if it breaks, I just leave, pop in the next map, and just blow up the next Legion. Sadly, didn't work out this time, but you kind of get the idea. Good. So let's talk about the build upgrades. What have I done to the build so far? I throw on some self-farmed, what do you say, like Eldritch Implicits on my boots, which is Scorched Ground for giving monsters a negative resistance on top of like the other stuff like exposure. And you see that I have like this Scorched Ground. If this would be Shaper, for example, you just have to attack him and then just walk over him, so he's actually affected by the Scorched Ground to not like fool yourself, right? Then some Ignites faster, pretty much standard. One upgrade that I did, I was changing my support gems. So today I decided to invest into Awakened gems. I bought an Awakened Swift Affliction, burning damage, as well as the Deadly Ailments. I swapped out Cruelty because I cannot really guarantee on like big bosses, like endgame bosses, to have a 40% Cruelty, right? Especially with Deadly Ailments, you do less damage with hits, and your hits are deciding on how big the Cruelty is going to be. While mapping, you're always going to have your 40% Cruelty, and also like this node over here is pretty good with like 30% effect of Cruelty, but I decided to just not play Cruelty, even though in PoB it is more damage, but therefore I swapped in Chain Support. Chain Support, always nice to have with Arc, multiple chains and increased chaining range, which also helps out with the clearing aspect. Another upgrade that I've done is the Polaric Devastation on the left finger slot, which means cover enemies in Ash for 5 seconds when you ignite them. So you're constantly igniting enemies, and cover enemies in Ash means that they take increased fire damage. We're an Ignite build, so this is a nice little upgrade for damage, some nice resistance. Sadly, no other stats like life and mana, but we're still fine. So, as I said, gem setup, implicits on my boots, and the Polaric Devastation, as well as a Timeless Jewel that I got today, which is the Lethal Pride for more or less defenses, okay? This build doesn't have evasion or armor, so physical damage mitigation doesn't really exist on this build. That's why I'm playing the Cloak of Flame that says 40% of physical damage taken is fire damage. So I'm getting like 60% or at least 40% less damage from physical because it gets converted. That's why I picked up here a Lethal Pride, which says 5% of physical damage from hits taken is fire damage, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and over here we have increased burning damage, helps out with my ignites as well, but it's another 15% physical damage taken as fire damage from hits that is from this node, I think. Yeah, but overall it's just about the physical damage mitigation. Either you stack armor, you stack evasion, you stack endurance charges, or if you cannot do anything of that, and you don't want to get like absolutely annihilated by physical damage, you start converting the physical damage that you take into element, because we do have the 75% resistance, which is always going to be there. And I just see that I'm not lightning res capped for whatever reason. I don't know. Weird things happen, I guess. Good. What else did I do? I bought the Megalomaniac here. Initially, I just wanted to have a medium cluster jewel with Fan the Flames, because if you remember, I was playing my Arc with Ignite Proliferation support gem. This is not the worst support gem, but it's still not the best either. So Fan the Flames means that I could take away the Ignite Proliferation support gem and get in Chain, for example, or anything else that you wanted to. And I got this one actually with Wish for Death, Culling Strike against cursed enemies, and Liquid Inspiration with increased mana. So the Mana Flask recovery rate doesn't affect me. I don't even have a Mana Flask. And the Culling Strike is not that great either, because I'm an Ignite build. Ignites are not hits. The only hits that I do is from Arc itself. So if you're an on-hit build, as soon as you get in Culling Strike range... What is actually this weird thingy over here? Never mind. As soon as you get in Culling Strike range, you're gonna, on the next hit, it's gonna get culled. If you just have your Ignites on, it ticks down like 10%, 9, 8, 7%, and you hit the monster on 3% with your Arc to refresh your Ignites, then the Culling Strike is going to sit in, right? So overall, it's just about the Fan the Flames and whatever is useful over there. It was still better than having something like increased attack speed with swords or something like that, right? We are now level 94. I got myself a Watcher's Eye for 1 Divine here with a double Malevolence, which is ignites inflict faster and unaffected by bleeding, so now I'm bleed immune, which is also super quality of life. I'm doing like tons of life searches. If I just show you my browser here, I have like here a couple life searches, here more life searches from all the upgrades and bases that I want to get on this character, and just like doing bits by bits and, you know, get some upgrades. This medium cluster jewel was 1 divine. This Watcher's Eye was 1 divine. The Timeless Jewel was 1 divine. So we're not talking about omega big upgrades like, oh, there's like freaking chests for like 25 divines with the corruption. No, it's actually simple upgrades. The Awakened gems, they were somewhere between like 50 to 80 chaos a piece, I think. I think one of those, I think was Swift Affliction, was like 110 chaos. So still everything, every upgrade here, less than a divine. Just the Polaric Devastation was more than a divine. I think they started like 2 divines, 2.5 divines. But overall, I think around about 5 divines upgraded in like small little bits and pieces. So I would say we're currently approaching the 10 divines investment mark, which is still, in my opinion, fairly budget since we are already kind of at day 5 of the league. But obviously with the reroll and everything, it throws you a little bit back. Not too bad though, because I'm still think that I had like a really good league start. But it is pretty much the current state of the art. The Path of Building link is in the description below. For me, the league start is now over. That means the next videos, as I said, talking about my Atlas farming strategy with some examples. How did I change the build accordingly? How do I make this kind of like currency? Where does the currency from this strategy coming from? And like just upgrading the build. And then I'm going to give you guys a build guide once I think the character reached a satisfying stage for me, okay? Like, this belt absolutely trash, the ring trash, my weapons are like mediocre at best, still no helm enchant, blah blah blah. You know, you guys seen the low investment mapping that I've done, and it was like very successful, but there is still like a lot of things that I want to do and achieve on this character. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.